I tried Warzone Mobile in 2025, and here's what I found. Warzone Mobile first released in March of 2024, but unfortunately was discontinued in May the following year. However, it is very important to note that you can still access the game. Despite being discontinued, you can still re-download it if you check your app history on the App Store or the Google Play Store, or if you're on Android, I'm assuming you can access it via an APK. So yes, Warzone Mobile is still playable. However, it is also important to note that the game obviously doesn't have the largest player base due to the fact that it has been discontinued and is pretty difficult to find if you didn't previously download it. On top of that, it is not receiving any new content updates. The content that is currently in the game is the only content that is available. As of right now, there is no future updates planned. But anyway, I went ahead and re-downloaded this game because I kind of missed it. Honestly, the gameplay is really solid. They literally brought Call of Duty from PC and consoles over to the mobile platform. Warzone Mobile really stuck out to me because it had the exact same gameplay and a lot of the same content that the PC and console versions had, such as the maps, game modes, of course things like Verdansk, Rebirth Island, and even Omni Movement, which debuted in Black Ops 6 last year. Unfortunately, the game was discontinued though because it simply wasn't making any money, and because of that, I guess it just wasn't worth it to keep updating and keep supporting for Activision. I think a lot of reasons led to this decision by them, but ultimately I think the main thing here was the fact that they could never really get the optimization down specifically for Android users. I myself have owned a lot of various Android devices over the last couple of years, including devices like the Red Magic series, the Samsung Galaxy S series, OnePlus, and I personally found that Warzone Mobile was really hit or miss depending on what Android device you were using at the time. And I think because of those optimization problems, it's really what led this game to its downfall. I think if people would have actually been able to run the game with fairly decent settings and performance, I think people would have realized just how truly ahead of its time this game really was. Again, it literally brought Call of Duty gameplay from PC and consoles over to mobile with full cross progression and pretty much all the same content. But anyway, we are now 5 months past the official discontinuation of Warzone Mobile, and I was kind of feeling nostalgic a little bit. I wanted to go ahead and download the game again, check it out, see how it ran on an older iPhone, and I wanted to see was anyone still playing this game. So I went ahead and re-downloaded it, and this is the game running on my iPhone 13 Pro. It's important to note I am playing on low settings with the FPS set to high, and I was also using a cooler attached to my phone. And even though I was screen recording on my phone, as you guys can see, the gameplay looked pretty good, and on top of that, it ran very smooth. This was a very enjoyable experience to actually play, and it wasn't just multiplayer. I went ahead and jumped into a match in Rebirth Island, and I jumped into a full match in Verdansk, and the game pretty much ran perfectly the entire time on my 4-year-old iPhone 13 Pro. And like I just mentioned, it was a really enjoyable experience for me. I honestly think that if most people that downloaded and tried this game out had the experience that I had last night recording this gameplay, I think people would have really enjoyed Warzone Mobile. Obviously, there is already another Call of Duty title on Android and iOS, that of course being Call of Duty Mobile, and Call of Duty Mobile does a lot of things really well. That being said though, I feel like Warzone Mobile had that specific charm that just wasn't really replicated in Call of Duty Mobile or any other first-person shooter on Android and iOS. And that's one of the reasons that got me reinstalling the game and trying to go and see is anyone still playing it. And after playing a few matches of both multiplayer as well as Battle Royale, I have to say, yes, people are still playing this game despite it being discontinued 5 months ago. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Obviously the gameplay, it's undefeated. It's just really good. Even comparing it to something like Call of Duty Mobile, the gameplay is just really solid. It's literally Call of Duty PC, but in your pocket. But yeah, after playing a couple of games last night, I honestly am not surprised why some people have not moved on from this game. It really is unique, and again, without some of those performance issues, I feel like this could have been such a huge mobile game. It could have been honestly one of the next big mobile FPS titles, and it just really sucks that Activision only gave Warzone Mobile about a year until they basically decided to pull the plug. I feel like that's something that has been very common on the mobile market for the last number of years now. Usually these developers put out a game and they usually give it about a year to see how it performs, and if it doesn't do too well, they usually just go ahead and shut it down. It's happened to a lot more games than just Warzone Mobile. We've seen it happen with Apex Mobile, we've seen it happen with Dead by Daylight Mobile. A lot of these big PC games have came over to the mobile platform, and unfortunately they just don't necessarily connect at first for various different reasons. I personally feel like with Warzone Mobile, it was really just that performance issue. The monetization wasn't great, but it was still a lot better than most other mobile games games. The gameplay itself was great. The amount of content it had was great. Multiplayer, BR, it had a nice variety of gameplay there. It really was just that fact that the performance sucked on most people's devices. I really feel like if Activision wanted to, they could really invest in Warzone Mobile still, try to relaunch it, basically just take away the cross progression stuff that, you know, obviously syncs up to the PC versions of Call of Duty, and instead just have Warzone Mobile be its own standalone mobile game. Maybe instead of focusing on integrating the latest Call of Duty into Warzone Mobile when the base game of Warzone Mobile isn't really even working that well, maybe they could just put all that time and all those resources into just fixing the current base game before even thinking about adding any new content, because the game already has a solid amount of content, whether you're a multiplayer fan, whether you're a BR fan, and yeah, just basically focus on fixing this game, making it optimized, and then basically just trying to relaunch the game in another year or two after spending that time trying to fix the game. I honestly think that if they did that, there could be a real shot at reviving Warzone Mobile. But yeah, after playing Warzone Mobile again in late 2025 on my 4-year-old iPhone 13 Pro, I really did have a nice experience overall. I really had fun, and I feel like this game could 100% still succeed on the mobile platform if they really just nailed down the optimization and tried to do some type of relaunch. Just forget integrating into Black Ops 7 or any other future Call of Duty titles. Just keep Warzone Mobile its own standalone game. It has a lot of content already. Just focus on fixing it. Just put all time and resources into that, and then relaunch it and see what happens. Maybe it's just wishful thinking on my part, but yeah, I personally was really looking forward to this game. I covered it for years before it actually released, and I was obviously very disappointed in the overall perception of the game and how things just ended up going about with Warzone Mobile and the discontinuation. But I really do feel like there was so much potential here. This could have been the next big BR on mobile. This could have been the game that everyone went to after they got bored of PUBG or they got bored of COD Mobile or Free Fire or whatever it was. But unfortunately, it didn't end up going that way. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Have you tried Warzone Mobile in recent months? Have you been playing it? Have you tried it? Would you try it again after watching this video? Do you think that they could potentially revive this game if they did some of the things that I presented in this video? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Of course, I always love reading your guys' comments. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Subscribe, motherfucker.